Welcome back to the channel, guys. First of all, let me apologise for the lack of content over the past couple of months, but it's Mallorca, it was summer, you know how it is. We've had a lot of really good engagement and feedback from the Zone 2 experiment videos, but something that keeps coming up is, we've built the base, what happens next? Well, that's what the next series of videos will aim to explain. Welcome to the 80-20 experiment. The 80-20 principle, what is it and why should you follow it? The 80-20 principle involves running 80% of your runs at low intensity, so zone 2 aerobic work, and the other 20% at high intensity, so zone 4s and zone 5s. So that 20% of higher intensity runs, things like your steady state runs, your tempo runs, your flat repeats, your hill repeats, your fast finish long runs, these are the types of runs that are going to help you develop that top end speed and your ability to maintain that speed for extended periods of time. The other 80% of your runs done in zone 2 will allow you to continue developing the aerobic base while also allowing you to recover from and adapt to the faster sessions from the 20%. An important point to remember is when measuring your weekly volume, because we're trail runners, we're going to do that by time rather than by kilometres or miles per week. The reason for this is, for example, if we're running 10 kilometres on a smooth flat trail, it could be 45 minutes. But equally, 10 kilometres could be 1,000 metres of positive vertical gain over very technical terrain, and it could be 2.5 hours, for example. So it's a very different training load from one to the other, and for that reason time is a much more accurate measure of our weekly load. For me personally, my volume over the past 6 months has been between 8 to 10 hours per week, and that's been mainly aerobic, zone 2, base building, some faster sessions thrown in, but nothing structured. So for me to now jump straight into 80-20 would be too much and would more than likely end up in some kind of overuse injury. So here's a much safer way for you to transition from base building to 80-20. In month 1, we'll run 90% zone 2 and 10% in zones 4 and 5. In month number 2, we'll run 85% in zone 2 and 15% in zones 4 and 5, and then in month number 3 we'll transition to 80 and 20. So in month number 1 I'll be looking at between 45 and 60 minutes of that higher intensity running, and I'll split this over 2 sessions in the week. The first one will be tempo based, so in week 1 I'll start with 20 minutes and I'll add 5 minutes per week throughout the month. The second session can be shorter and faster, so something like 8 times 3 minutes hill repeats or 5 times 5 minutes on the road, something like this. In the next video I'm going to be doing a maximum heart rate test that you can replicate at home, no need for a lab. And that will allow us to fairly accurately predict exactly where your zone 4 is and where your zone 5 is and where your zone 2 is, obviously. So stay tuned for that one. If you haven't seen the zone 2 videos, I recommend you go back and look at those now, and we'll put the links to those down below. Hopefully you'll join me over these next few months so that we all come out of winter strong, fit and fast and ready to race. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video, share the video, follow along on the social media channels, and we'll see you next week for the maximum heart rate test.